Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode titled I Don't Eat Veggies. If you've heard this from your child or are dealing with a toddler who makes faces every time you present anything looking green to them, this episode is for you. Well, thank you for joining me today. I am Dr. Lom. If this is your first time joining in or listening in, welcome, welcome. So over the weekend, had family over, and one of my teenage nieces, when dinner rolled over, she went into the pantry looking for noodles. I do not stash noodles, so I told her there are no noodles, but I had prepared some meal that had veggies, greens in it over the weekend. And her response was, I don't eat veggies. I'm like, wow, okay. And this is something that I think most parents are dealing with. And I've had to deal with my kids saying I don't eat one thing or the other in the past. But today I would like to really address that and to help you if you are a parent who has picky eaters or has a kid who does not like most of the foods you offer with, it could be frustrating. So today I'll give you some ways in which you can add variety or address the issue of eating certain foods. But before we get started, I wanted to address picky eating or food aversions and stuff becomes a eating pattern that started from something. It usually starts from the toddler phase where either we gave in to whatever they wanted and then they eventually just continued on with that unhealthy eating pattern, or maybe it was a kid who had a difficult experience with a particular food or food allergy or intolerance and did not like how that particular food made them feel, and then they became fearful of trying new foods. But regardless of wherever it started, most kids who are picky eaters end up having some kind of anxiety component where they're afraid of food. So it may not be as easy as just trying one food. It may just be that they are truly fearful of trying that new food. So when we go into dinner time or present a food that they're not familiar with and say, well, just try it already, just take one bite. Oh, I promise you, you're going to like it. It may be that easy for us, but not so easy for that particular child because they're dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with fears, they're coming to the dinner table with that fear, knowing that they may be pressured to try something that they feel like it's going to not make them feel okay or make them feel uncomfortable. So, with that in mind, addressing or coming to the dinner table, then we have to make sure that we're coming with a calm demeanor, because if we go in with anxiety or we're going in with that pressure or that agenda of like, I don't know what it's going to look like today. I'm already coming in frustrated, ready for battle, because it's always a battleground. We learn to expect that. The kid is coming to, on the other hand, thinking, okay, they're going to try to make me try this. I'm going to try to do whatever I need to do to get over this phase. So once they sense your anxiety, they're coming with anxiety too, because both anxiety and calm are contagious. We want to calm in with that calm because our kids, whether we know it or not, they feed off of how we feel or feed off of our energy. So if we come in anxious, we breathe that anxious energy. If we come in with calm, it breeds the calm feeling where, because we know with anxiety, if you're anxious about stuff, you're less likely to try it than if you come in a place where you're calm and you're relaxed. In that state, you're more likely to take that bite without pressure. You're more likely to try something new or be adventurous because you feel safe. The second way to address anxiety is to have a consistent routine. Consistency is really key because once kids know and they can predict what happens, they become it becomes like it's safer that way. Where it's like they know what to expect. They know we're gonna have dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner at certain times. I know I have snacks at certain times, and it's like a safe haven for them where they know, okay, well, dinner is at this time. This is what I know to expect. Snack is at this time. So having some kind of consistency is really good where you plan out your meals. An example would be maybe having breakfast at 8 p.m. You have a mid morning snack. You have lunch about 1. Have a mid afternoon snack. And then you have dinner where you come in calm knowing that if they say no to breakfast, that's okay because that's only one of many meals that you're going to offer throughout that day. Now, if they said no or they don't want to try a bite or any of that stuff, we know that's fine, but we're not going to come back and give in to that other pattern of eating where we're like, oh, I don't want to eat breakfast, and then they come back 10 minutes later, I'm hungry. No, you're just going to drink water until the next time I offer again. But once you start that, I usually tell my clients and parents that before you start doing that, you have to be mentally prepared. Because if you don't prepare yourself mentally for that, once your child comes back crying, you're going to give in. And if they know that when they cry, you give in, guess what they're going to keep doing? Every time you try to set the rules and stuff, they'll cry and get what they need. So you have to make sure that you're mentally prepared to go through with it, and also understanding that once you go through with it to the end, eventually they know that this is how things are, and they fall in line and start trying new things. It takes time too. So you want to come in with calm, you want to be patient, you want to be consistent. Now, if you've done that and now adding variety, what do you do about adding the variety to the foods? Well, you want to start adding foods slowly. Now, if you have a kid who all they want to eat is chicken nuggets, and that's their main things, you may start by making the chicken at home, doing baked chicken in the oven, adding lots of herbs and seasonings and spices, where you're still offering the chicken. It's a free range chicken, organic chicken, whichever one you choose. But you're not doing the fried options. You're baking it, and when you're baking it, you may add some veggies on the side, where it's still the same food, but you're preparing it in a different way. Or if you decide you have a kid who is eating just pasta. My kid went through that phase for a while where I had different ways of cooking the same pasta. You say, oh, your kid is eating pasta every day. Yeah, but I may do it with a tomato base one day. I can make it with buttersquash base the next day. I may add chicken one day and do meatballs the next day. I may have chopped veggies in there the next day, add a little bit of carrots, chopped carrots or peas or green beans. So yes, it's the same pasta, but I'm adding different things to make sure that she's experiencing or they're experiencing different fruits and vegetables, but in small portions. Now, once they get used to that chopped carrots in their food and they experience it and they're familiar with the chopped carrots, the next time now I can increase the size of the carrots and make it as a side dish with steamed carrots on the side. Now they're seeing the steamed carrots on the side. It is familiar. They've seen it already. This is not the first time they're seeing the carrots. So they're more likely to then try it because they're already, one, they know what it tastes like. They've had it before. It's been in their plate and they're not afraid of it. So it's like small exposures slowly where they become aware that, oh, this food is not that bad after all. I had it in pasta. Now I can try it with something else. So just be adventurous with it, where you're doing and adding. It may seem like you're giving the same thing, but you're adding small things and modifying it slowly but surely. They become familiar. When they become familiar, they're more likely to try it. And then the next thing, besides adding it slowly, is that when you come into mealtime, you don't want to even make it about the food. You may present it, you're eating it. Of course, you want to eat together at mealtime so that you can model it, right? You don't want to. It's easy. I had to learn this myself. It's easy to make the food and serve them while we're cleaning up the kitchen or doing something else because we don't have that much time. But once we keep it in mind that this may be a time to connect with my kid, this may be an opportunity to talk about feelings and flavors and textures and different things, just depending on your kid's age. It may be that you can sit at the table and say, okay, I'm going to try this carrot. I bet you it tastes good. Oh, it is crunchy. I like my food crunchy. What Taste it and tell me what you think. So you're having conversations mainly to get to know their preferences and to get to know what they really like. What colors do you like? For a long time, I called my kid only wanted something red. I had strawberries, raspberries, berries, all kinds of things, red tomatoes, red peppers, and stuff in everything, just because she liked that red color and it worked. So really getting to know what the preferences, the color preferences, the texture preferences preferences and stuff, but you know that by really interacting with them and connecting with them and talking to them. So that's a wrap. So with consistency, with calm, and with patience, we can get our kids, even with the teenagers, to eat. I'll add variety with their foods, understanding that on once they start out, it may just be a pattern that we have to start a step back and come from a place of understanding and slowly getting them in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please, as always, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you found this helpful, I do have a workshop coming on June 30th at 4 p.m. I'll put the link for you to register. It's going to be a webinar that will have a session for where you can ask all of your questions and we get to interact and troubleshoot what's going on with your picky eater. And as always, don't forget to leave your comments down below. And thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Dr. Lum.